Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. I am just back from Southern California, where I had a chance this week to teach a class in USC's Food Industry Management program. And it is a terrific program that I encourage you, if you can have a chance to talk to those folks, it's great. If you have a chance to send people to that program, it's terrific. I know I say this a lot, and you're probably tired of it, but there are a few things in life as energizing as being able to spend time on a college campus, to spend time in a classroom with people, exchanging ideas, chatting with them, listening to them. I just think it's one of the great pleasures of what I do. And it wasn't so bad that I was in Southern California. I left here when it was snowing, got there, and when I wasn't teaching, I was walking along the Strand between Manhattan Beach and Redondo Beach with my daughter, who's on spring break from college. So all in all, it has been a great week. Anyway, while I was there, somebody sent me an email with the following story in it, which I found fascinating. It said as follows, that consumers visiting Carrefour stores in Shanghai are now able to trace the origin of vegetables and fruits on sale by scanning the quick response codes of products with their smartphones. The production place and date of the item, the business license of the supplier, and other information regarding the farms can be tracked down, officials said yesterday. All of its outlets in Shanghai will have the codes by the end of the week, according to Carrefour, and they added that the intent is to improve food safety and freshness, and also increase farmers' incomes at the same time. I read that and I thought, whoa, that is so cool. And I think evidence yet again of how important transparency is becoming in global markets. But what I found really interesting about the piece is I saw a system that sounded remarkably similar to it when I was in Tokyo 7 years ago. It was 2006. And I was in Tokyo and I saw a system that was amazing. I'll never forget it. I was so impressed. So I go into these stores run by Aeon, which is one of the biggest retailers in Japan. And they have had a system then, which allowed people to use their cell phones, I don't even think they were smartphones, to take a picture of QR codes, let's say, on the tomatoes. And within seconds, they could find out where the tomatoes were grown, what was used to fertilize the ground in which the tomatoes are grown, and see a picture of the farmer who grew the tomatoes. And they had a similar system available in the meat department, when people were very concerned about mad cow disease. So every piece of beef that was sold had a code number. The code number correlated to the cow from which the beef came, and you could instantly find out, where the cows came from, where they were born, what they were fed, what bulls they might have been consorting with, I suppose, and see a picture of the rancher who owned the cows. And this struck me as amazing. There's so much information, and this was 2006. 7 years later, it sounds like a remarkably similar system is available in Shanghai. And even more remarkably, I have never, ever seen a system like this being run in the United States, at least not on the consumer side. And that, to me, is extraordinary. This isn't Star Trek technology. It's available today. It was available 7 years ago. Now, this speaks to a couple of things. One of the things this talks about is Aeon's willingness to be transparent, about understanding that it's in its marketplace, transparency was amazingly important. And the other thing it speaks to is the fact that sometimes here in the United States, there are people who believe that transparency is not that important. And they believe that despite the fact that the balance of power has shifted in so many ways to the shopper. And they're just in denial about that. They don't want to provide this kind of information. Now, I am hopeful that Whole Foods' decision over the past week to mandate that all of its suppliers provide information about any GMOs that are contained in ingredients that they are selling and products that Whole Foods is selling, I'm hopeful that's a step in the right direction. That in fact the kinds of systems that were available 7 years ago in Japan and are available now in China eventually might find their way here to the United States. Here's the amazing thing, though. And this is interesting to me. When I asked the folks at Aeon about these systems, I said one of the questions I asked was what percentage of your customers use them? And they said 5%. I said 5%? Only 5%? That's extraordinary. And they said, no, Kevin, you don't understand. The fact that only 5% of our customers use these systems means that 95% of our customers trust us. this is, and that's good. And part of the reason they trust is they know we make the information available. So they don't have to use it. If we were not making the information available, the level of trust might be lower. Investing in transparency, investing in these kinds of systems, investing in country of origin labeling, investing in systems that provide customers with as much information as possible. These aren't investments in technology. These are investments in trust. And at the end of the day, if you're in the food business, trust is one of the most important things that you have going for you. And that's why I hope that this is just the beginning of a greater level of transparency, and that we're going to see these kinds of systems soon here in the United States. Anyway, that's what is on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.